versus Wolfe.
Another edition of Koenig and Wolfe. I'm Doug Wolfe with Clay Koenig. And Clay, you have a timely editorial this week, and I'm going to really be into this one.
All right, so
Tell us what your editorial is about.
the consumer reporting agencies are putting out their list of dangerous toys and everything like that. And there was an announcement earlier this week that 4 people had perished from this boarded skateboard, this one-wheeled skateboard. So what I was doing is I was taking a look at the dangerous toys over the years, and we've got some doozies here. You and I talked a little bit about this.
Right. Now, look, before we get into some toys here, this is being recorded in the first few days of October. Perfect timing. Why? Because parents are on the internet, parents are in stores right now buying Christmas toys, which Christmas is a little more than 2 months away, but people are already buying. I know one of the big internet companies, they have one of their Prime Days or whatever it is coming up pretty soon, and
Right.
people will be spending money, so this is perfect timing.
Right.
Now, tell us, I think people are wimps right now, right? They weren't like us when we were kids. When I was a kid, we had jarts, which were lawn darts.
Right.
And they were made with metal tips.
Yeah.
And there was nothing like, throwing that thing at your brother and try to spear him in the back or
Sure.
something like that. Or
Throwing them straight up in the air
Oh, yeah.
running.
Yeah, which was really dangerous. But anyway, toys were more dangerous when you and I were kids, but they were calling all kinds of stuff.
I was looking at the CSI fingerprint analysis kit. And what this is they're having these kids put down all this powder and stuff like that, checking out fingerprints. They're brushing away. But what they didn't say is it's asbestos. So these kids are using asbestos, wiping down these fingerprints.
Just inhale a little of that. You'll feel good about 20 years from now.
The new Easy Bake Oven, the reboot that happened in 2007.
Yeah.
77 children so far have burned their hands.
How many?
77. Since 2007, 77 kids have gone to the hospital with major burns because of that Easy Bake
See,
Oven.
when we were kids, did you have creepy crawlers? Right. So creepy crawlers was like this hot metal plate, and you'd pour a liquid plastic into it, and the plate was some kind of bug.
Okay.
Like you'd have maybe a dozen plates in the thing, and you can make all these bugs yourself. Creepy
Okay.
crawlers, they call them. These things would give you third-degree burns if you touched it. You were in the hospital if you touched it. So that little Easy Bake Oven thing. Heck, I've got an Easy Bake Oven on right now with the 40-watt bulb. It's been cooking a cake now for 40 years. It still isn't done.
Always mushy in the middle, if I
Always mushy.
remember right.
Now, here's one from June of this year, June
Okay.
22nd, 2023. Zuru Toys made a product called Baby Shark Toys. 7.5 million are on recall. Most of them sold in the United States, some sold in Canada. And what was happening is these baby sharks, the top fin was like a hard plastic, I believe. And the kids are slipping and falling in the bathtub, because kids slip and fall in the bathtub, and they're landing on it, and the baby shark top fin is impaling them. And they've had 9 kids that had to get medical treatment because of the baby shark impaling them. I told you another story we're not doing on TV here with the baby shark toy. But anyway, I mean, these are basic toys that people just don't think about. Now, you brought up the chemistry sets?
Yeah, we'll take us to break, and I'm going to tell you a story that's just going to knock your socks off. It'll be good stuff.
Sounds good.
All right.
We're back in a moment.
All right, you're watching Koenig versus Wolfe, and we're talking about the consumer reporting agency talking about these dangerous toys.
Isn't that amazing? Now, you were telling me, and I have a little story to relate to it, about a product that had something with radioactive in it.
Right. So this is the Gilbert Atomic Energy Lab. And honestly, if any of you people out there have this, would you please bring it to the station? We'd love to take some footage of it.
I would like to do a story on it.
Absolutely.
Because this came out, what, in the 60s?
In the 60s. And what they did was they put a piece of uranium-238 in this kit with Geiger counter. So all these kids are getting radioactive poisoning as they're playing with these toys.
But the great thing was, the Geiger counter went off.
Oh, sure. We'd be clicking all the time. No,
Did you have one of those?
No, that's way before.
I didn't have that.
I grew up in the 80s. I'm a kid.
Dude.
I look old, but I'm just a kid.
I know, you're older than heck. I was born in the 50s, so we did have that stuff. And I got a chemistry set one year for Christmas.
Okay.
Because all the kids got chemistry sets. It had real chemicals. I mean, real chemicals. It had a little chart about what each one was, and you'd mix them together and they'd bubble. My mother would have us on the kitchen table. Don't get it on the rug. Go over and play with it on the kitchen table. Who knows what we're eating later? Here's a bologna sandwich. We drop it in the chemicals. Who knows? You know.
They're talking about this other toy, clackers. You remember these?
Oh yeah.
Like this. So now they're selling a non-lethal form of clackers.
Wait a minute. They were hard. Were they killing people?
Boy, they're hitting kids in the head all the time. You know, temple injuries.
Oh,
and,
wow.
No, look, there's injuries with
I
whatever
used to
you
bust
do.
up my hand and
You
all
know,
that kind
yeah,
of
it's
stuff.
all it was part of the growing up experience.
Sure.
You know.
Did you wear a helmet on a bicycle?
Never wore a helmet.
No.
No.
They didn't even tell you to do that.
I'm trying to think if there were ever such thing as helmets back then for bicycles. There probably were.
No.
Not for us.
No,
You know, we
no.
would go down wagons.
Motorcycle helmets they had.
Right? We go down wagons like on hills, like
Yes.
triple, where you'd be flying
Yes.
stitches in the chin.
Yeah.
All part of growing up.
That's all these weasels getting killed in skiing accidents. They hit a tree and they die. We used to have sleds, man. I lived in an area, it was in New Jersey. It was hilly. So we had sleds. We'd hit trees all the time. It never died,
Well,
as far as I know.
Yeah, it's dangerous. There's no doubt about it. Oh, one more thing.
Oh, you got a
Flubber.
whole list of them.
Yeah, flubber. Silly Putty made this stuff called flubber, and basically it was
Because
basically.
they had the movie Flubber.
I don't know if it was after that or not, but
Okay.
apparently they've buried 4 to 5 tons of this toxic chemicals in the back of their
Mattel or
in the
something?
ground. Yeah, because this stuff was just bad news. They're talking about these water beads that would increase up to 300% of their size. These kids were taking these water beads and swallowing them and then getting stuck in the intestine and blowing up the size of an apple, and they'd have to have surgery.
Right.
I mean, anything could be toxic if, too much of it, right?
Well, they're always recalling stuff for being so small. There's choking hazard. They get
Right.
choke on it. We never choked on it. It went right through. Whatever
Coming
that.
out in different
because
colors.
we were kids.
Yeah.
different colors.
Yeah.
We were kids. We put stuff in our mouth all the time. I probably have 5 Lincoln pennies in me right now. Who knows?
Good stuff, Doug. Another good.
No, we got to keep talking, man. Because what are some of the other crap that you used to play with as a kid?
But I was ball glove. I was football and baseball. That was pretty much.
We had baseball, football.
I didn't do a lot of I didn't play with the Army men. I wasn't. My little brother was into Star Wars and
we
stuff.
played with. Now we would have toy guns that had projectiles.
Yeah.
In other words, I had this one gun that would shoot a grenade. All right. So what you would do, the grenade was hard plastic and it had a thing sticking out of the bottom to load it into the gun.
Okay.
It was another piece of hard plastic, and on the top it was a metal cap on the top.
Okay.
So you'd pull the metal cap back and you put caps, like caps for a cap
Yes,
gun.
yes.
Okay, you know what a cap gun
Yeah.
is? You put the caps in there and put the metal top on it, load the grenade in, and you'd fire it, and it would go, and when it would hit concrete, it would pop because of the cap in there, make a little pop.
And then but it wouldn't have the design to move the cap continuously. You would have to move it to the next cap and then reload it.
Oh,
and
yeah,
go
yeah,
for
yeah.
it. Okay.
Every time.
Okay.
Because you had to reload the
Yeah.
grenade. Now, the thing was, that had a metal tip on the end of it for
Right.
where the cap went. Boy, there was nothing better than shooting your brother with it. You know, I mean, boom.
Would the cap go off?
Not when it hit him. The screen
when it
would go off because he would scream, you
Yeah.
know, that kind of stuff. But then we had cap guns. Can you find cap guns anymore? I don't know.
Maybe in the dollar stores. I remember when the caps came out and there was like a circular thing.
Oh, they were plastic?
Yes, they were
Yes.
plastic and they had the little loads in each.
Right,
And then
right.
when you were
Those
hit
were
that
better.
revolver, it would change.
Those were better.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
good stuff.
Now, if you had one of those, they'd probably shoot you because they thought you're armed.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't have little yellow tips on it.
Yeah, they had
Say
like
it's a
orange
toy
tips
gun.
or yeah, right.
They didn't do that in
No,
those days.
no. We had bow and arrows,
Oh, yes.
You know,
yeah, we did.
We had
all
I remember
kinds
my
of good
father
crap.
telling me he was at University of Illinois and they were taking a bow and arrow across the football field and shooting at each other, back and forth with a bow and arrow. Yeah.
Now, here's the other thing. Toy trucks. You go into the stores, they're plastic. Rounded off plastic because they're safe.
Yeah.
Not a bunch of crap. We used to have hard metal trucks. Man, those things were metal.
You throw those at your brother too?
My brother still has my father's from the 1930s.
See, it's worth money.
Yeah, he never hit me with one of those. But those things were all metal trucks and stuff, and they lasted. But now you have to have this plastic. Hasbro makes plastic. Or what are the toy
Everything's
companies
plastic.
anymore? Mattel. When I was a kid, it was Mattel and Hasbro,
Yeah, I still think they're out there. I
and
still think they're out there.
something with a K. I don't remember. But anyway, it was much better when I was a kid because we had
Toys were better.
Toys were better.
Apparently safer.
Well, now, I mean, who plays with a toy? They're all digital,
Phones.
you know.
No more
No, the
toys.
kids have no imaginations.
True.
We had imaginations.
You still have imagination, Doug.
Yeah, I know. I got to go come up with a story right now using my imagination for the news tonight. Anyway, Clay, thank you very much. Great editorial this week. Hope everybody sees it on WAND, and we'll catch you next time.
See you next week.